Hi, welcome to another edition of Tech Talk on WGRA. You can hear it on the radio and also watch this video on WGRA.net and Blautech.com. We appreciate you watching and listening every week as we talk about different tech services. Paul Blau from Blautech Computers is here with us today. And Paul, we're going to talk about a subject that is probably one of the most frustrating for every computer user out there is why in the world is my computer suddenly starting to run slower? Now, I actually have had this problem many times before where I brought my computer in and I handed it to you and say, the thing was running great until a week ago, and now, you know, it takes me 30 minutes to send an email. I mean, this is a common problem that everybody complains to you about all the time. Why does the computer run slow? So first, basically, for people that experience this, what is the general cause of these sudden slowdowns in the computer?
Well, you're right, Jeff. This is the most common problem, the most common complaint that we hear, and we experience it ourselves. Now, there are a couple things to bear in mind. First off, sometimes your computer feels slower than it did to start with because you've gotten exposed to faster computers. And so that's a kind of human phenomena that we'll notice is, and we tell people that the technical lifespan of a computer is 3 years, and that means that at that 3-year point, you're going to start noticing that everybody's newer computers is a lot faster than your computer.
It doesn't mean that your old computer doesn't work anymore.
No.
It just means that you now have a noticeable reference point.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. About 5 years is the physical lifespan where things begin to physically fail, and that can cause issues with slowdowns and as computers maybe overheat or something along that line. But now, neither of those are the most common reasons why this happens. The most common reason is that you made a change to your computer. You probably don't realize that you made that change. That change could be that you got some spyware installed onto your computer. It might not even be spyware. It might be that you installed accidentally a toolbar into your internet browser. This happens all the time. If you ever go to update, say, Java is a little tool that a lot of websites require and a lot of programs require that's provided by Sun Micro. It's a free product, and so a lot of people take advantage of it. A little programming language.
But they want you to download ask.com every single time.
Absolutely. You have to uncheck that every time, or you'll wind up with that toolbar added in.
And they're kind of sneaky about it because they don't. It's not even that they get you to say, "Would you like this?"
Right.
The way they do it is they automatically check it, and you have to purposely uncheck it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's true with a lot of software, especially free software. You got to figure out if something's free, there's a reason why it's free. They've got some avenue that they're trying to make money.
Right.
And so typically it's going to be through advertising on some sort. So you're watching out for that. Or it's a freemium product where they're trying to get you to purchase it so that they can sell you the big version of it later on. So kind of a trial run.
Now, when you download that extra browser, that extra search engine, a lot of times you'll notice the ribbon at the top of your screen will start getting longer and deeper. And that's one way that you know that you're getting more and more stuff.
Right, yeah. And we've seen some funny things, where we've actually had people come in where the internet browser was only about 2 inches wide now because there were so many toolbars. I mean, they just didn't know any better. It just happened over time. One more.
Why not? And, if one's great, 20 are better.
That's right. And so and they didn't know how to get them off, and so we'll go in there and we'll remove those things to start with. We also will go through the add remove program list in your control panel, which is a place where all reputable software will actually put itself. And so sometimes a program is installed on your computer that is not spyware or adware or junk. It's something that was put onto your computer for a purpose, but it's no longer used. And it's kind of neat. There's a little tool next to it. It'll tell you the last time that you ever accessed this program, and we'll find stuff on their computer that's has been used one time, hasn't been used for years. But all of those things take up a little bit of memory and a little bit of resources, and they just pile on. It's real funny, even from right off the bat, when you buy a new computer from even Dell or HP or anybody, they come with what we call colloquially bloatware.
Yeah.
Just a lot of free programs and additive services and all these different things. And for our customers, our business customers, we go in there and we remove all of that. We actually format brand new computers to get all of the junk off of them. But over time, what happens is that just in using your computer, you accumulate some of that junk. Some of those programs are just not necessary, and then toolbars and various other things. Also, another thing that happens is that as you're having patches and updates done to your computer, sometimes those patches and those updates will cause little things to go awry, and they'll have little leftovers and little problems. that may occur, and so those have to be cleaned up. Sometimes it can be just as simple as running some fairly powerful utility programs that we have here that will go through, analyze, and do cleaning. A lot of times what we end up doing is what we call a format reload, where basically we wipe the computer out, we back up the data, and wipe it out, put it back like it was when it first came to you, put your data back on there, and then only reinstall the programs that you actually need, and that fixes the issues.
So if people want to try to do some of this stuff at home, maybe the first thing they need to do is they need to go to that add remove program and look at that list of stuff. And if they don't recognize programs, then they can remove them. But there's also a danger there, because people remove things sometimes they don't understand what they are, and it might actually be part of the operating system. So how do you know which ones to remove and not to remove?
Again, great question. So this happens actually to us. I mean, I've been doing this for 31 years, and we've been in business for 21 years, and I've got guys that have worked in the industry that long working for me, and we still run across stuff all the time that we don't know what it is. It's on this list, and so it was put on there for some reason, and you have to look it up. And so if we don't recognize it right off the top, now our advantage over the standard home user is going to be that we are exposed to this a lot more often, so we can look through the list and say, okay, well, 90% of it we recognize, and then 3 or 4 programs, we'll just go to Google and look it up and put it in,
and you just go to Google, what is blah blah blah.exe.
Exactly.
And it'll tell you.
Yeah, and there's a dozen websites out there designed specifically for identifying products and telling you, hey, this is spyware, hey, this is a good program, hey, this program has lots of issues, this program's known to slow computers down, this program is used for uploading videos or whatever, and you'll tell you what it's for, so you can get an idea whether it's safe to take it off or maybe it really does need to stay on. So they could do that. If they're not sure, don't take it off. Either call and ask us, or
make a list of it,
or go to Google, and look it up themselves.
Now there are a couple of software products out there that are free, by the way, that people can use to regularly run on their computer to keep them running faster. And there's a couple that I use on one of the PCs that I have that runs on Microsoft software called Malware Bytes. That's free.
Right.
And CC Cleaner is another one that are both very reliable and well known, and they work. I know Malware Bytes, it looks for things like pop-up ads and cookies that are put on the computer, and it clears all that out, makes it faster. CC Cleaner is another one that, for me, it clears all that stuff out of the computer that makes it kind of clog up, which is all those temporary files and all that kind of thing. Exactly. So people can use both of those too, right?
Yeah, sure. And both of them are very well known, relatively safe programs. And I say relatively because anytime that you run any kind of utility on your computer, you need to make sure you have a backup first.
Right.
Always have backups before you do anything, even with really, really good programs. Malware Bytes is a program we use all of the time. It's a supplemental product similar to an antivirus software, but it's kind of an on-demand, run it when you need it, and go in there and clean things up.
So how often should people run it? Every 30 days?
Yeah, 30 days, once a week, depends on your usage level. And then if you're suspicious, you've got some weird behavior and the computer's running slow, you can run it. Now there is a paid version of Malware Bytes that will run automatically and has some advanced features. So they are an example of that freemium software. They really want you to download the free version and then upgrade to the paid version. And ultimately, if none of us ever upgrade to the paid version, they go out of business, and then we don't get their really cool product. So we probably should pay for it every once in a while.
Now there's also some things that I've seen that, and you guys are watching this probably have experienced this before. You're on the internet and something pops up and says, download this great registry cleaner, and it will clean your registry and make your computer run faster. Should we be wary of programs that are actually actively advertising to run the free version? For one thing, they say run the free version that's not free. Right. They tell you about all these bazillion things wrong on your computer, then you have to pay them $29 to clean it.
Right.
Are those trustworthy?
Pretty much. This is, if I had to say there was one issue that causes the slowdowns more than anything else, it's that exact issue. Yeah. Somebody has been on the internet, something popped up as an ad, they said, oh, that looks cool, let me do that. Or they were just kind of, looking around on the internet and ran across things. They need to, don't install something unless you know that it's reputable. Look up their reputation first, make sure that it's good. Ask yourself this question, do I really need this? You don't need 100 different programs on your computer. Yeah. What do you need to do and what do you want to do on your computer? And only do those things. And so use some good judgment on that. But yes, you should always be suspicious of every program. Sometimes it's not even that they have malicious intent. Sometimes it's just that three guys in their college dorm created this software program. They didn't have any kind of formal training. They didn't do any quality control checks. They put it out there. You downloaded it. There were bugs in it, and those bugs are causing you problems.
And some of these things actually bring along with them other programs secretly
absolutely.
and install. Once you click on and
Right.
check my registry, it's installing
Yeah.
another program in the background too.
Right, we call those Trojan Horses, and so there is some type of a product, oftentimes screensavers or things like that, that people say, oh, that's cool, that's wonderful, I want that. That'll be just the neatest little thing. And what they don't know is that they get that product, it does do what it says it's going to do, but it also opens the door for a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
Now that stuff may just be spyware and adware where people are trying to market to you. But it also could be more malicious things like criminal software that's designed to steal information from you or to hold your computer hostage.
All right, we're trying to keep these interviews to under 15 minutes so they load up fast on your computer and you can listen to them on the radio quickly. And so we got about 3 minutes left, and I want to talk about just one thing more before we finish up, and that is hardware fixes for slow computers.
Sure.
I mean, so if I do all the software stuff that you and I have already talked about, and that does not work, what's the next avenue hardware-wise?
Right, so there's a lot of different things that can factor into making a computer run slow from a hardware standpoint. So let's say we've got all the software, it's all golden, but you're still experiencing some slowdown. We have to ask ourselves why. Where is the slowdown at? If it's in the internet, maybe you don't have a fast enough internet connection, or maybe you have too many people on your internet connection at home or at work, and so we need to upgrade the speed on that. Or it could even be the router that you're attached to, the wireless router, or even the switch that you're attached to that could actually be slowing it down. So there's components even outside the computer that can play factors into that. In some cases, if it's like a game, or if it is photo editing or video editing software that's really running slow, it's probably the video card. And what we can do oftentimes there is put in a supplemental or a new video card and tremendously increase the speed and performance of those types of processes. Adding memory is always a good thing.
Right.
A lot of times people get very small amounts of memory to start with. Today, the minimum standard should be 4 gigabytes of RAM.
Now, for people that don't, the memory is the programs on your hard drive move to the memory of the computer to run.
When they're operating.
When they're operating.
So you could have
So if you got 5 programs open that all require 2 gigabytes of memory and you only got 4, you're in trouble.
Yeah. So what will happen in that case is the computer will actually page memory to the hard drive. And so instead of running the super fast electronic memory of the RAM chips, it's going to be running the super slow memory of the hard drive.
Right.
And so that's a lot of times where slowdowns will occur, is we've just outpaced the memory.
Yeah.
So
And that's pretty simple to install for a lot of PCs.
Yeah.
You can just buy it yourself and plug it into the slot.
yeah, often you have to be careful that again you match the memory to your computer,
Right.
And there are plenty of ways of doing that. You go back to your the manufacturer's website, and they'll tell you what memory will work with the computer.
And if the little wheel turns around all the time on your computer when you're searching for a file, that might mean you've got problems with your hard drive.
Could
It
be,
needs to be
absolutely.
defragged, or
Yeah.
there's an issue there.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned defragging. It's an important tool. A lot of times the newer operating systems will do it automatically, and so you don't really have to worry about it as much as we used to. But it's always a good, safe thing to do occasionally, is just to go in and run the manual defrag tool that's built into your operating system.
And basically what that does is all these files on your computer, on the hard drive, it closes up those holes and moves them closer together.
Right.
It opens up more space.
So if like a 1 megabyte file gets written to your computer onto the hard drive, it could be written in 5 different places
Right.
to start with, and that's not efficient from a speed standpoint. It's efficient from a storage standpoint, but when we have time, what we can do is run it overnight time, and they'll take all those 5 pieces, put it back together in one, and that'll speed up the access.
All right, so if your computer's running slow, those are all tips. And of course, the folks at Bloutech will be glad to give you more. Just call them at 377-8825. Check out their videos and other tips on Tech Talk on our website at wgr.net or bloutech.com. Hey, thanks for watching Tech Talk right here on WGRA and WGRA.net.